Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. And thank you to all of you who are engaging with me this morning. Someone here says, an encounter with Jesus Christ does super transformation in our lives, rising from shame. That's Kagwathi Kamau from Eldoret. Thank you very much. Someone here says, just following and loving the show. Thank you for the word. That's Njeri Kahungu from Githurai. And then here someone says, hey Joyce, tuned in as kawaida from Katanga. Sharon overlapped my call. Enjoying the show though. My hubby said hi. It would be a dream come true to speak with you. Every segment is a learning and blessing to me. And you especially love Tuesdays and Fridays, and you would love some masks. Remember, I am doing a giveaway as we celebrate 200 episodes of the show, 200 episodes plus now. And all you need to do is just let me know what you love most about the show and what you've been doing to keep yourselves busy during this season. Esther Betty from Dagoretti says, I really like your show, all segments, because I'm really inspired to do things I feel I can't do. The devotion segment has helped me grow spiritually and have strong faith in God. And you'd like to say that you are my mentor, and I believe one day I'll have my show running on TV like yours, because you're a journalist student and you have a show on YouTube. Thank you very much for that, Esther Betty from Dagoretti. Another says, glad to see you this morning. May God be with you. I'm inspired in watching the show from Taita Taveta. That's Vincent Mokua. Kagwathi Kamau had posted earlier there saying that the choice of topics of discussion is super incredible. God bless you, Joyce, for what you're doing. Edwin from Riruta says, I love your Full Circle show, mostly the devotion and relationship segments. This has enabled me to heal from my previous experiences. Everyone is learning, Joyce. Kwanza nimekufuata kutoka Rauka, okay, I guess when I was at Citizen, and you say your show has always been instrumental. Thank you very much for watching. Charity Joanne from Thika Road, you say, I love everything about Full Circle, the devotions, Relationship Tuesday, the DIYs, literally everything. This period has been quite trying, but God's grace has been sufficient. I have been bonding more with family, exercising, and also growing my relationship with God through personal study and fellowship via online platforms. Thank you very much for that message, Charity. In fact, Charity from Joanne from Thika Road, we're going to award you some masks, and I'll be mentioning your name as well among the winners at the end of the show. Okay, so we already have our one winner. We still have 9 more masks, or 9 more awardees to give masks away to. But for now, we want to switch gears and jump into our Change Maker segment. Here with me in studio, I have Gibson Mwaita, who's the training and regional manager in I Choose Life Africa. Karibu sana to this show.
Thank you so much, Jo.
All right, so I understand you guys actually have a program called Jiongoze. What is that about?
Thank you, Joyce, for hosting me today, and congratulations for hitting the 200 mark with your episode. You're really doing an amazing work.
Thank you.
So Jiongoze Project is about youth empowerment, and that is basically comes under the broader 1 Million Youth Empowerment Challenge, which is an initiative that we are running as I Choose Life Africa that focuses on empowering a total of 1 million youth by 2022. And part of how we are doing that is we are focusing around 4 key areas. That is around health, around education, around empowerment, leadership and governance, and then safety and security. So Jiongoze Project then comes under leadership and governance, where the focus is basically reducing vulnerability to violent extremism among youth that is of age bracket 15 to 24 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are some of the activities that you do to be able to actually empower them under this program?
Well, for this particular program, we acknowledge that if we are to reduce vulnerability to violent extremism, then we need to take a 3-pronged approach. And so what we are doing basically is we are focusing on improving the youth's sense of purpose and worthiness. And with that, we are doing a lot of life skills training, a bit of mentorship and coaching, a bit of thematic events to just kind of be able to appreciate the different diversity we have out there. And then also the bit of also doing messaging through mainstream media, social media, etc.
Okay.
Secondly, we are focusing on reducing vulnerability by increasing their economic opportunities.
Right.
What we mean by that is that we are really working towards either getting a lot of youth employed, and for those who do not want maybe to get into employment industry, then we are focusing on ensuring that they are starting their own business, they're empowered with entrepreneurship skills, and then also have access to credit, access to market, so that they are able to, generate income by themselves.
Okay.
And then thirdly, we acknowledge that the two notwithstanding, they're still part of our community. And we realize that part of what really pushes youth to violent extremism, if you look at the push factors, has to do with where they live. Are they feeling oppressed? Are they feeling that they're not appreciated? Are they feeling that they're not getting the right opportunities? And so what we are doing is working with the community to ensure that youth are getting such opportunities. The community has adopted a non-violent approaches to conflict resolution, and just having a cohesive community.
I see.
Yeah.
And let's talk about radicalization here in Kenya too. How big of a problem is this? Because I think sometimes we kind of diminish, how much of it is actually happening just because we don't see it. Of course, it happens in a lot of like corners and backdoor alleys and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's a real problem.
Sure.
That we're facing here in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And I know you're also doing a lot of work in another county. Maybe you can tell us about that. But also just to speak generally about the issue of radicalization here in Kenya.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Sure. And just to clarify is that for this particular program, we are targeting or we're implementing it in Nairobi. And Nairobi here, our focus is mostly Kibra as well as Kamkunji sub-county. In Garissa, we are implementing this particular project in Garissa Township as well as Hulugo sub-county.
Okay.
When you look at radicalization, radicalization is a big problem as you're stating it. And of course, recently we have seen an increased trends of young people being radicalized, young people being targeted for recruitment. If you are to look at the past recent, let me say terror, activities or attacks, and just get to see who are involved in that, you'd realize that a number of young people are involved. A number of quite intelligent individuals are involved. A number of, even individuals from different tribes are also involved. So what we are seeing at the moment is that there is increased, radicalization. Right now, it has moved out of whatever used to be traditionally, thought that it is maybe perceived that individuals from particular tribe or particular religion are involved in that. Right now, we are seeing it goes, cutting across board. Being said that individuals from particular regions are also involved and also recruited. So it is an increased, and right now also we are seeing that even the issue to do with where it is targeted, because at the moment we are seeing educational institutions being targeted, embassies, for instance, being targeted as well. So it is something that it has increased. It is taken a different shape. Initially, traditionally, we also used to see that traditionally you could actually almost describe a terrorist, almost.
Right. Now it's
very hard. Anyone can be. One of us here, could be. God forbid. Yeah. One of us could be. It's very hard to tell. So it has taken a different direction, becoming more complicated. It becoming, you cannot be able to put a finger and say, this is how it looks like.
Sure.
And all that. Yeah.
And given the environment, you're saying the environment is very much a big factor in sort of helping to point at, whether radicalization could take place, or at least the risk factor, vulnerabilities towards being steered into radicalization.
Yeah.
Is there a particular age group that you'd say is most vulnerable? We are seeing especially youth being targeted at the moment, because what is happening is from the trends that we have and from the statistics and data that we have, and also the engagement that we have with young people, and even seeing observing what really is happening, is that we are seeing at the moment there is an increased direction towards targeting young people. Like how young are we talking about?
We could be talking About, I mean, we'd be talking about, you know, 15 to 24, you know, 30 there still being,
Wow.
yeah, because what is happening is that we are seeing trends where young people are being targeted so that the ideology is changed early enough. Because remember, violent extremism is about constructing particular ideology that you know, encourages violence to other means of probably solving the differences in the community. So there are trends, and we are seeing a direction whereby there is increased targeting of young people, quite young, so to speak, even in institutions, so that then the change starts happening at that particular time. Yeah.
And because we've said, you know, you can't really tell, you know, the face of a terrorist is sort of, it's unmasked, and you really don't know who a terrorist could be. I'm curious, as far as with your program, if it also deals with young women, and how much, if at all, young women are also being pulled into this, because I think previously our understanding has always been it's young men.
Yeah.
But I think globally we can see that there's been instances, plenty of instances, where women have actually been involved as well.
Sure.
How does that reflect with your program?
And that's very true. Women have increasingly been, of course, in the recent past, involved in that. Our program basically targets more women than actually men. We target 60% women and about
Really?
and about 40% men. And this is because we have seen, and of course it is also out there, that women are increasingly being involved. To be able to, I mean, one, to be able to, just because initially men were perceived to be taking a part more, and so the shift towards women can be seen more to be able to still conceal that. And secondly, also we know that women also have a lot of influence in men's life. Yeah, if you look at what a woman can be able to convince in a man, I mean, for a few cases that we have had, for instance, there was a case about a particular young lady who it is said that he was behind the pushing of a man to actually get into violent extremism. Why? Because of the question that if you are a man, you need to go out there and defend particular ideologies. So when you tell that to a man, I mean, you know,
You're
and that is coming,
his ego.
yeah, that is coming from a woman. You are really attacking his ego. Yeah.
Aki, if you're that babe out there, and don't be that babe, for reals. No, women, use your power and your influence for positive things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now exactly that's what we are doing. The reason why we are targeting more women is because we want now to be able to use them to counter that. Yeah, because we know that by using them and just being able to now preach and drive the countering ideologies, then that would really go a long way towards achieving this.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Thank you again for being here today and just sharing and bringing to light this issue. Again, so many of us kind of, I think, just shrug it, you know, brush it off our shoulders, but something to certainly be aware of. And I love that you've brought in the perspective of the terrorist, first of all, is not who you've imagined in your mind, or a violent extremist is not who you've imagined in your mind. It is really a factor of the environments that we provide, and the fact that even you as a woman have such a huge role to play in that is very key. So may we all have better communities because we're each individually playing our parts. But thank you very much, Gibson, for coming on to the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And if people want to follow your work at or even maybe figure out how they can be part of your program, how can they reach you?
Well, if they want to get involved in what we are doing, because we are working also with partners, we are not working alone. In this particular program, we are working with 4 partners. We are working with DocuBox Kenya. Now, DocuBox Kenya is an organization that specializes in film production. And with that, I remember I talked about we using also a film to be able to disseminate information about countering or preventing For us, actually, we don't focus on countering, we focus on prevention. So we focus on the software bit,
Right.
you know, ensuring the guys have the right skills, the guys have the right knowledge, they are quite empowered to be able to not become easily targeted for that. So that's one. So for DocuBox, then they focus on film production. Actually, one of them was just aired recently, Not My Son, talking about that. And then we also have Isliwood Youth Forum that focuses on also film production, just plays production, and as well as dissemination through radio station and all that. And then we have Sowet Kenya, also that does programming in Kamkunji. And then we have Women in Kenya that also we're working with in Garissa. So if you want to get involved, I mean, we're calling on a number of partners to come on board. You can follow us, of course, through I Choose Life Africa as the main implementing partner, or you can follow us through our different partners. But of importance, we also have a page that we are running called Jiongoze Project page. You can get it on Facebook, you can get it on Instagram, you can get it on YouTube, so that you can be able to see what we do.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I do need to take a break now as we get to the top of the hour. I've been talking, though, to Gibson Mwaita, who's the training and regional manager of I Choose Life Africa. Great conversation there about radicalization here in this country, and I hope you guys have walked away with something here today. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
With that said, guys, we need to break and see you at the top of the hour. Still coming up next, we have events of the week in brief, and we're also going to be meeting a young violinist here in studio. Stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.